This is MeetSean, where we break down real life topics insurance, annuities, real estate, travel planning, and home ownership so you can make smarter moves. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are tackling a decision that is, I think, for a lot of people, both really exciting and completely paralyzing: updating your kitchen with brand new appliances.
It's the ultimate high-stakes shopping trip, isn't it?
Hmm.
I mean, the kitchen really is the heart of the home,
Mm.
but the choices, the brands, the features, the sizes, it can feel less like you're designing a dream space and more like you're just lost in a giant, confusing stainless steel maze.
Absolutely. You start out looking for a new fridge, and then suddenly you're debating dual compressors and internal cameras and trying to figure out if you need black stainless or panel ready.
Exactly.
So our mission today is to cut through all of that noise. We've synthesized a ton of market data and professional advice to give you the 5 essential factors, plus a strategic guide to make you the most informed appliance buyer out there.
And we want this to be actionable knowledge, not just information. We're going to focus on, the 4 foundational pillars right away. Matching appliances to how you actually cook, getting the spatial planning right, setting a serious budget, and then doing the homework on brands and reviews.
Okay, let's start with a really crucial mindset shift. Appliances aren't just utility items. They are serious investments, and they can provide a real verifiable boost to your home's value.
That is often the first aha moment for people. Real estate professionals confirm it all the time. A kitchen with modern top-tier appliances, that's a major selling point. It's directly linked to higher appraisal values and a significant return on investment, the ROI.
And we have hard numbers on that, which really helps frame the whole budget discussion. So when we're talking about the big ones, the fridge, the stove, what kind of return are we looking at?
The ROI is pretty impressive. If you invest in a high-end refrigerator, the data suggests you can see an average return of around 80% when you go to sell the house.
80%? Wow.
Yeah. And a premium stove, a range, that's similar. It's around a 70% ROI. Even something that feels more mundane, like an energy-efficient dishwasher, still gives you about a 50% return. Buyers just see that as guaranteed quality.
Knowing that this is an investment, not just an expense, really makes setting the budget the foundation of the whole thing. You need a rock-solid number before you even start looking at the shiny feature.
Exactly. You have to decide what part of your total remodel budget is just for appliances. And that number, it has to match the quality, the lifespan you expect, and the features you absolutely need.
So speaking of features, how do we decide where to splurge and where to save? It feels so easy to get sucked into every luxury add-on.
The advice here is really clear. Splurge on your core appliances, the ones doing the heavy lifting. That's your refrigerator and your main oven or range. You should also consider splurging on features that give you real improvements like, say, convection oven technology or really precise temperature controls.
Okay, give me an example. What's a high-value splurge on a fridge? What are you paying for besides just, more space?
You're paying for consistency and longevity. A great example is the dual compressor system. That's where the freezer and the fridge have separate cooling systems.
Right.
It stops temperature swings, it keeps the fridge humidity stable, which means your vegetables last way longer, and it stops odors from moving between compartments. That is a real measurable improvement.
And on the flip side, where can we save some money and not really lose core function?
On secondary appliances, definitely. Or on features that are purely cosmetic. You barely use a microwave. A basic model is fine. Those internal cameras in fridges or the smart displays that show you recipes, they're convenient, sure, but they don't affect performance. So that's the first place to trim the budget.
Let's give everyone a quick snapshot of the price differences, because the gap between entry-level and premium is just staggering.
Oh, it's enormous. A basic, reliable refrigerator might start around $800. But if you want an integrated dual compressor model, you can easily fly past $3,000, and for dishwashers, it's similar. A good base model can be $300, but if you want quiet operations, special wash cycles, Wi-Fi, you're looking at $1,500 and up.
Okay, budget set. Now, the first big physical hurdle. Consideration 1, kitchen space and layout. I will confess, I once bought a huge appliance and completely forgot to measure the doorway it had to get through.
That is the classic mistake. So many people do it.
It was not fun.
No. An accurate measurement isn't just about the space where the appliance will sit. That's the easy part. You have to take a tape measure and check the clearance through every single hallway, every doorway, every turn it has to make to get into the kitchen. Always account for handles, venting space, and the gap you need to open the door fully.
A very actionable tip. So once it's in place, you need the kitchen to actually work. That brings up the famous work triangle.
Yes, the work triangle is the foundation of all kitchen design. It links the three main points of activity: the sink for cleanup, the stove for cooking, and the fridge for storage. You want to keep the travel between those points to a minimum.
So if the fridge is way too far from the sink, you've just ruined the whole flow.
You've ruined the flow.
Yeah.
The idea is that none of the legs of that triangle should be too long. You're saving steps. You're making prep smoother. It seems small, but it makes a huge difference in daily use.
Let's talk about the trade-off between built-in versus freestanding appliances. What are the big pros and cons?
Built-in appliances give you that incredibly sleek, custom look. They just disappear into the cabinetry. It's the gold standard for high-end design. The trade-off is they cost more to install, and you have like zero flexibility to swap them out later.
Right.
Freestanding ones are flexible, much easier to repair or replace, and cheaper up front. But you don't get that seamless, integrated look.
That flows right into consideration too. Energy efficiency and long-term costs. This isn't just about the planet, it's about your wallet over the next, say, 15 years.
You have to look past the sticker price. You have to think about the lifetime operating cost. The most important label in the U.S. is the Energy Star rating. It's from the EPA. If you see that label, you're guaranteed lower utility bills over the life of the appliance.
And it's not just electricity we're talking about, is it? Water consumption is a big one, especially for dishwashers and fridges with ice makers.
Absolutely. When you're comparing dishwashers, you need to look at the gallons per cycle. The newest models use so much less water than units from even a few years ago. And with electricity, some cooking methods are way more efficient. Induction cooktops, for example, use magnetic fields to heat the pan directly. Almost no energy is wasted.
That's fascinating. So on average, what are we actually paying per year to run these things?
For a standard refrigerator, you're looking at somewhere between 400 and 600 kilowatt hours a year. That works out to about $50 to $75. A dishwasher is much lower, maybe $35 to $40 a year. Over 15 years, though, the difference between an efficient model and an inefficient one can be hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Okay, moving to consideration 3. Functionality and essential features. This is where we have to separate the needs from the wants, the core performance from the tech gimmicks.
The first question you have to ask is always, does this thing do its main job perfectly? Does the oven hold a steady temperature? Does the fridge keep vegetables crisp? If the answer is no, I don't care how many Wi-Fi features it has.
Right. So if I'm a serious home baker, I care less about a smart display and more about consistent heat. What's a feature that's worth the extra money for a cook?
Look at ovens. Convection is critical. It's a fan that circulates hot air so you get even browning and faster cooking. It's a game changer for baking and roasting. Another one is a steam clean function. It's less intense than a full self-clean cycle, uses less energy, and doesn't fill your house with smoke.
And what about smart home integration? It's everywhere now. What are the features that actually help versus just adding complexity?
The real benefits are convenience and efficiency. Being able to preheat your oven on the way home from work, that's a great quality of life thing. Energy tracking is another good one. But, and this is a huge but, you have to check the reviews for the app and the connectivity. A buggy app can turn a luxury feature into a constant headache.
That leads us perfectly into consideration 4, durability and brand reliability. We're buying something to last 15 years. It has to handle daily use for a decade and a half.
Longevity is totally non-negotiable. This is where you have to research the manufacturers. Brands like Whirlpool, they're known for being workhorses. LG is often noted for innovation, but also long-lasting performance. You're looking for a history of solid construction and parts that are easy to find.
And how long should we realistically expect these things to last?
Refrigerators, they're the big one. They typically last between 13 and 15 years. Dishwashers have a tougher job, all that heat and water, so they're a bit shorter, usually up to about 10 years. And because they last so long, that brings you right back to the warranty.
So what should we look for in a warranty beyond just the standard 1-year coverage?
Don't just look at the length. You have to read what's covered. Is it parts or is it parts and labor? A lot of brands offer a 1-year comprehensive, but then they'll extend it for 5 or 10 years on a specific expensive part, like the compressor. You want that labor coverage, especially for the first few years. A high-end repair visit is not cheap.
Okay, on to our final factor, consideration 5, design aesthetics and kitchen cohesion. This is the fun part, but it's also where you can get distracted by flashy trends.
This is where function meets form. Your appliances really dictate the whole style of your kitchen. So to get that cohesive look, you have to coordinate the finishes. If your cabinet hardware is brushed nickel, maybe you lean towards stainless steel. If you want a warmer industrial vibe, maybe a smudge-proof black stainless works.
What's your advice on trends? Black stainless is popular now, but is it going to look dated in 10 years when the fridge is still running perfectly?
That is the essential challenge. For something you're keeping for 15 years, it's almost always safer to pick a classic design and a neutral color. Stainless steel is timeless for a reason. If you want to play with trends, do it with things that are cheap and easy to change, like your wall color or your light fixtures.
I saw a mention of decorative panels in the sources. How does that help with the visual impact?
So large appliances, especially the fridge, they are a huge focal point. Panel-ready appliances let you face them with the same material as your cabinets. It basically makes the appliance disappear into the cabinetry. It creates this totally seamless custom look. It's huge for modern minimalist designs.
That's a great design tip. So we've covered the 5 big ones: space, energy, function, durability, and design. Let's talk about practical maintenance. This can be the difference between an appliance lasting 10 years and lasting 15.
Consistency is everything. You should have quick daily routines like wiping up spills right away and then weekly deeper cleans where you check food traps and accessible filters.
What's on the seasonal checklist that people always forget? Give us the deep dive details.
The seasonal checklist is so important for longevity. For your oven, take the racks out, give them a deep clean, and just look at the heating elements to see if they're damaged. For the dishwasher, run a cleaning cycle with vinegar or a special cleaner, and make sure that drain filter at the bottom is clear. And most important, for the refrigerator, you have to clean the condenser coils.
Why are those coils so important?
The coils are usually at the back or on the bottom of the fridge. They get rid of heat. When they get covered in dust and pet hair, the fridge has to work so much harder to stay cool. That uses more energy, and it dramatically shortens the life of the compressor. Cleaning them with a brush or a vacuum once or twice a year can literally save you thousands of dollars.
Excellent. Okay, finally, let's talk strategic shopping. When is the best time to buy, and how do we make sense of all the brand tiers?
For deals, timing is everything. The best times are end-of-season clearance sales when they're trying to get rid of old stock, and major holiday weekends. Black Friday, President's Day, Memorial Day. Also, be savvy when a manufacturer announces new models. Look for big discounts on the current ones they need to move.
Let's break down the brand ladder, starting at the top. The premium tier. What are you really paying for with a Sub-Zero or a Wolf?
At that premium level, you are paying for professional-grade materials, incredibly precise temperature control, and white glove service. Brands like Sub-Zero and Wolf are engineered for maximum precision and a very long life. They're expensive, sure, $4,000 to $10,000 per appliance, but things like dual compressors are standard.
Then you have the mid-range, which for a lot of people is the sweet spot.
Precisely. Brands like KitchenAid or LG give you a fantastic balance. You get a lot of the high-end features like convection and smart functions, but without that extreme price tag. They offer really great durability for the money. And then you have the budget-friendly tier, like Whirlpool and Frigidaire. They make reliable, dependable appliances that just do the core job flawlessly at a much lower price.
To wrap this all up, let's look at the future. What are the big trends influencing new appliances today?
Sustainability is huge. It's moving from a niche feature to a core expectation. So we're seeing more demand for high-energy star ratings, eco-mode settings, and manufacturers like Miele and Viking are really prioritizing recyclable materials and long-term repairability.
And on the tech side, beyond just Wi-Fi.
We're moving toward really advanced sensor technology, appliances that can, almost think for themselves. This means cooking algorithms that take the guesswork out of recipes and temperature controls so precise they used to only be in commercial kitchens. It's really revolutionizing how we cook and preserve food.
So whether you're replacing one appliance or doing a full kitchen gut, the path to a confident decision really means thinking through these 5 factors: space, energy, function, durability, and design. Making an informed choice doesn't just give you a beautiful kitchen, it gives you a functional one that adds real value to your home.
And that leads us to our final thought for you to take into the showroom. You're buying an appliance that's designed to last 13 to 15 years. Since that lifespan is so long, you have to seriously consider if prioritizing classic, robust, dependable features is a safer long-term bet than spending extra on cutting-edge smart features that might become obsolete, unsupported, or just plain broken by new tech long before the machine itself wears out. That's the real balance you have to strike.
A truly practical point to keep in mind. Thanks for diving deep with us.
That's it for today's Meet Sean. If this helped, follow the show and share this episode with one person who needs it. See you next time.